Just a second, it should be going live. If it's already live, it'll let me know. It's a little slow, my internet's.
Oh, that message is today. Good morning. This explains why schools are closed.
Right? And we are officially live. Hello, 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 beautiful souls. Yana Kasperczak here coming into you live. I know it's been a minute since I've been live with the podcast, but things have been brewing in the back end, as you ladies will all see. So, some of you know who I am, some of you don't. I'm Yana Kasperczak. I'm a founder of Empathy Unicorn Academy and a host of this podcast, Get Your Shit Together, with this new series of Your Journey of Becoming, where I have women come on and share their journeys of becoming who they are today. And I have been obsessed with helping women, good girls, spiritual women such as yourself, who are natural born leaders, who are tired of treating their businesses like a hobby and ready to get their shit together and break free from that mental prison so you can build the business and the life that you are obsessed with. That is something that you can be super, super proud of. So today I have Michelle on here with us, and she is an author and fermentation educator who rebuilt her health and life after burnt out, disconnection, and years of putting herself last, putting herself on the back burner. Such something we all good girls are very familiar with doing. And her work explores how food, soil, and gut health mirror our emotional healing and self-trust. She helps women reconnect with their bodies, their instinct, and their power without pills, perfection, or pretending. And that one, I believe, would be one of the my favorite ones to explore and talk about. But I really love to hear from you, Michelle. Um, just introduce yourself in the way that you would, number one. And number two, just go right into the meat and potatoes of your journey of becoming, of all the ups and downs, all the shitstorms, right? We have that word, get your shit together in there for a reason. Let's just use it, right? And I know you and I, we've talked about that very thing as well. So we'll talk about that today. I believe it might be important for some of you, just a little bit. But let us know a little bit more of who you are, aside from what I've mentioned, and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, first of all, Anna, thank you so much for having me on. And what a beautiful intro. I hope I can follow up with everything you said.
You wrote it.
But it sounds so great coming from you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I should probably tell you guys that I grew up in rural Oklahoma, which is like in the center of the United States. And we ate what we grew and we ate what we raised. And it's important to tell you that because there's been this lifelong learning experience that I've gone through watching our food system start at where our neighbors all have gardens in their backyard and we traded food with each other, was very community feeling, to where we are today, where food is not a story. Food is not where we are. Food is just substance to keep you moving forward. And I think it's important to take a step back and see what has happened in this change over the last 59 years. And is it really impacting our body? And I can tell you it is. And so today I want to talk about how this change has come about underneath our nose. Man, we didn't even know what was going on. It just kind of happened. And it was very secretive. And here we are today. People are sicker than they've ever been. Women don't know what's going on with their bodies. We've got crazy stuff happening left and right. And I think I found a way to do this where it can solve some problems and help find your rhythm and get you back to eating great food and understanding why we want to eat great food.
No, that's so true. I'm glad that this is where you started because paying attention to how we consume, what kind of food we even consume, how food gets processed, how food even gets grown, and most importantly, one of the things that I know we'll touch base on is the soil as well. But because this is the journey of becoming, I would love to, how do I put it? It's like I want you to help other women to see themselves in you because your journey of becoming who you are today and how you got here, I know it was not an easy one. I know it was lots of downs, lots of ups, and lots of ups and downs all over the place, even throughout the same one day, right? So, what got you really like, what was that straw that said, like, this is it, I ain't going back, sister?
That's a really deep question to ask, and I will do my best to answer it. Um, so I worked in technology and project management. I traveled all over the world, doing different projects, helping businesses convert from manual processes to electronic processes. And in doing that, you're on the go. I was basically a glorified road warrior. And so I was eating out constantly. I was going 90 miles a minute. I had a child that I was trying to balance, bringing a nanny with me anytime I traveled. It was craziness. I mean, you could look at my garbage can as an analogy. When all this was happening, my garbage can was the largest one you could have. And when they came to pick up, it was overflowing. And with that also was the waste I was experiencing. And I kept trying to buy all the great food, but it would go bad before I could eat it. And if you look at that life, and that kind of changed once my son was about 5 years old, and I started getting back down to basics and eating food that really was good for me. Um, and then I got back into the rat race again. I think it just kind of sneaks up on us. And I found that I was like bleeding like you would not believe. I was having these episodes every month where I was stuck on the couch or in bed and could not get out 2 weeks out of every month. It was awful. And in fact, I landed in the hospital many times getting DNCs and ablations to stop the hemorrhaging that was happening. And there was nothing I could do about it. I had no control. I remember somebody saying, just get control of it. And I'm like, how? Doctors would tell me get a hysterectomy. And I was like, I'm just not one of those people that go and do medical procedures very easily. I'm kind of scared of that kind of stuff. I want things to happen naturally, and I wasn't understanding what was going on with my body. And I was in a 5 year span. I was still finding myself in the hospital having this taken care of, but my nutrients had depleted in my body. And so the doctors would give me antibiotics and then they would give me probiotics to balance the antibiotics. And I would be on prednisone. I'd be on blood pressure medicine. I was on so many crazy pills, it was out of control. And because my system had weakened uh, with all this blood loss, I I had a tooth extraction and it turned into preceptus. I found myself in the hospital again for a solid week. Still, they're pumping medicine in me. And it wasn't necessary. I've been a very healthy person all my life. So this change that was going on was crazy. And my mind was freaking out. I was feeling very isolated and even depressed at times. Um, and then I would take a couple more steps, get a little bit better. And then I went on a backpacking trip with my son and I tore my root meniscus. my
Right.
root meniscus, which is crazy. You think that, you've got to tear the meniscus on the side, and the doctor had no idea how I did that. And all I did was step on a little pebble. But I think, honestly, I think it had to do with my system being so weak from not recovering from the blood loss. And then I get better from that. And then my son and I have a car accident. I mean, come on. I could not get ahead of myself. It was the worst 5 years of my life, and I wasn't working. And so I just started documenting what was going on with my life, because what else am I supposed to do? I had already hit Netflix and cleared out all my movie stream. What am I going to do? So I started writing a book, and I started documenting my process.
Mhm.
And what I found was, when I started listening to what was going on with my body, I could start making changes. And they were small changes. I started eating some fermented food. And the fermented food, there is this crazy thing that I learned in doing the research, that we have a gut brain axis. Some people say our gut is our second brain.
Mhm.
But I was finding, when I ate fermented food, and making me happy was a big deal, because I was in a dark, dark place. And so I would eat a little bit. And I found that I ate it 3 times a day. And wow, my mood changed. And then I started noticing I started sleeping a little bit better. And, inflammation wasn't so bad.
Mhm.
I was like, whoa, is this all because of fermented food? What is going on? And I completely stopped all the medications the doctors had on me. And I just started focusing on what my body needed at that moment in time. And I realized, my gosh, I have outsourced my food. I have outsourced my health. I haven't been taking responsibility for how I feel or what I was doing. So,
Mhm.
in a huge, coming back down to you, Yana, I'm back. That was kind of my aha moment to get this book going, and help other people in feeling better too. Our bodies are not broken.
No.
They're underfed. They're underfed, and
Malnourished.
yeah, malnourished. And we can get that back by feeding the microbes in our belly.
I love that. And thank you for sharing your journey. I know it sounds like it's almost like easy to hear for some people, but when you're going through it, and those who have gone through it or are going through it, it is not easy. It's like it's like stabbing your toe over and over and over again when you're feeling that internal pain, and you use the word outsource. I think that's a really powerful word to use for pretty much everything that we're doing. We're outsourcing our entertainment, and especially like if we were talking about kids here as well, because you mentioned
Yeah.
your son, I'll mention my kids, outsourcing their entertainment. I don't know about you, Michelle, but I'm gonna assume when you were growing up, the entertainment was your siblings, your parents, some books, some sticks outside, some mud, and
Yana, it was go outside and don't come back till dark.
right?
Seriously.
Now it's the
You
other
did
way.
not
We
go in
won't
the
let them
house
go.
until it was dark.
Yep. Yeah, and then if it's dark, and this is where I remember there was one time my mom taught me and helped me, look, I guess I didn't, because I didn't know, right? To understand that when you're outside, it doesn't seem so dark, but when you come inside and you look outside, it's really dark. Because if you have street lights, you gradually adjust to the light, right? It's
Yes.
like if you walk in
Yes.
into a dark room, you know it's dark. But if you were in that room already and gradually the light was being turned off, your eyes would adjust. And now we're outsourcing our food. And now what you are talking about, what you did is you readjusted to a new reality where you're not outsourcing every single thing. Because let's be honest, we can't do every single thing. We still got to outsource. So I'm okay outsourcing entertainment. That's why I brought it up, right? Having all these Netflix and Disney's commercials or not, you still enjoy it. I would, I'd love to hear the fermentations. I know I have other questions, but I want to hear a little bit more because this is also for me. I'm curious myself as I have started
Sure.
fermenting, as I mentioned to you. What was the last time when we had the call, the first call that we had right before I was fermenting ginger, and now
Make it a
I have
ginger bud.
right, and now I have five of them, and I don't know if it's gonna work out, but I'm just a scientist in the kitchen. I am. What would you tell someone who's just starting off with fermentation and has absolutely no idea and starting off with the recipe
Okay.
of simple?
Okay. Well, first of all, I say baby steps. And let's talk a little bit about what fermentation is, because some people think fermentation is canning, and they're two very different activities. They both preserve food, but they come about it in a different way.
Mhm.
When you can food, like tomatoes, for example, and yes, you've got some acid in that tomato when you can it, lemon juice, uh, and you seal it, it is preserved by heat. You make it hot and you kill the microbes, everything, the bacteria, everything that's in there is sealed, heated, preserved. Fermentation is a very different activity. Fermentation is alive, it's food that is alive. You've got microbes living on it. And what you're doing is you're feeding the microbes the sugar that's in those vegetables, and the microbes are killing the bad bacteria that's in there, and doing that by uh, um, completely live. There's no heat, there's never any heat with fermentation. And um, when you let it ferment and the microbes do their work, they take and transform that jar, and you grow colonies. Now, if you don't do your fermentation correctly, the colonies that grow might be the bad stuff, like you might have mold growing on top of it, which is really disgusting. But there's a couple different types of mold. There's the cam yeast, which is not harmful and totally fine, completely white, that would live on the top of a jar,
Mhm.
and that's okay. You just scrape it off or you shake it back into the jar and you're fine. But when you start seeing colors, when you start, and this goes back to taking a step back, this is not a fast process. This is a slow process. And you need to be aware of what you're looking at and taking your time and experience it. Like jars, and we think that's bad. That's botulism. But in fermentation, that's good.
Mhm.
And it's totally fine. It's eating the sugars. It's the microbes moving around. So let's see a recipe of okay, first of all, before we go to the recipe, if you don't know if you even like fermented foods, I'd highly recommend going to the store, looking for sauerkraut with the label that reads raw sauerkraut. That right there is your cue to go ahead and buy a jar of it and taste it. And when I say taste it, you only want to taste like a teaspoon of it. If you're not used to eating fermented foods, only eat a little bit, because let me tell you, those microbes go to town very quickly. And if you eat too much, you could be doubled over. But it's okay. It's not going to hurt you. It's just your microbes in your body are going, whoa, what's happening? So I recommend a teaspoon up to 2 tablespoons, but you don't need to eat a lot at a seating. I mean, you may want to. Sometimes I can't stop because it's so good.
Mhm.
But 1 teaspoon to 2 tablespoons is all you need, like 3 times a day. So now, let's say you've tasted that and you're like, okay, I want to try this myself. So you go buy a cabbage, and you just say, do one cabbage, no seasonings. Just do the cabbage in the jar. Slice it very thinly, put it in a bowl. Go ahead and put a little salt in it, mix it up with your hands, and notice how the texture of the cabbage changes. There's a transformation that's happening. And fermentation is all about transformation and all about sitting there and letting things happen. What's going to happen is that it's going to feel a little more on the wilted side. Water's going to escape out. That's great water. Keep it. Put your
Mhm.
cabbage in a jar, pour that liquid that extracted from the cabbage on top of it. And then if it doesn't feel, you want to fill it up 3/4 of the way. Give yourself an inch and a half maybe of clearing space. And the big thing with fermentation is we want to cut out the oxygen. We can't have oxygen in our food. So we submerge our cabbage in the brine, in the water, the brine.
Mhm.
And to do that, you take a cabbage leaf and you put it on top and you smush it down. You press you press it so it's underneath the brine and then weigh it. And what you want to do is when you look at if you've got cabbage and you've got water over the cabbage, look at that number because every cabbage weighs differently. So I can't give you a number, but what I can say is you want to do 2% salt on top of the number that you see. That is cabbage and water mixed together.
Mhm.
So you add a little bit of salt for a gallon of cabbage, it's usually about 2 tablespoons, is kind of the rough estimate. And you get exact number by weighing it and just bring it up to 2%. And you can use your phone to figure out what that 2% is. It's super easy. And then you let it sit. You put a lid on it and you let it ferment. And it's going to ferment for about 3 to 4 weeks. You can start tasting it at 3 weeks' time. You can even start tasting it 2 weeks' time if you want. Um, so there's a lid that you need to put on top of your jar. That lid, if it doesn't have a way for oxygen to escape out of it, you need to burp it. So burping it is fine. You just unscrew it and then screw it back. And you would do that once a day. Or you can buy uh, there are different tops you can use. There's so many out there right now. You can do an Amazon search on fermented lids and you'll see all the different options that are available. I personally prefer the airlock method. The airlock method is this really cool device that has you put water in it and as the oxygen rises through the fermentation bubbling, it gets trapped and moved out of the siphon and it's kind of cool to watch, especially if you have kids. It's a fun thing to experiment with. And you don't have to deal with unscrewing it and open it up. But it's really important when you're making sauerkraut that even if you have a cabbage leaf on top of it, you've submerged it into the water, you need some sort of weight because the bubbles will bring up the cabbage. And if you weight it down, that will keep it. So to weight it down, they've got these weights you can buy at the store, or you can use a baggie with water. That'll also weight it down.
Mhm.
Cam yeast will form around that, which is kind of disgusting. It's that white, uh, it's okay. This yeasty, it's kind of slimy feeling even. You can extract it, taking the baggie out and then washing the baggie and putting it back into the jar. Or you can use a new baggie if you want to do that. But anywhere that you've got a little bit of brine and you've got oxygen, you're going to create calm yeast.
Mm.
So you just need to make sure you're always submerged. So, okay, to recap, it is cabbage in water and salt. You're going to slice your cabbage, stick it in a jar, make sure you've got water over it, and you've got a clearing of about an inch and a half in the jar. Put a cabbage leaf on top of it, press it down, add a weight, put your lid on it, and wait. And that's it.
Perfect.
And it sounds like a lot that I just said, but it's really super easy and you can do it in 5 minutes once you
Yeah.
get used to it.
It sounds like a
It
lot the
takes,
first couple of times. And then
yes,
afterwards, like, once we get the gist, like, oh, I got it. It's like a math problem. Algebra is hard until you get it. Once you get it and
yes,
understand
yes.
it, you're like,
And let me tell you, the one thing that's really important about this is that your cabbage probably cost you $6, but that fermented jar can last at least a year if you don't eat it all. But it'll last. So after you're done fermenting it, when you can taste it, and you if it's still too salty, if it just has too much of a saltiness to it, put it back in. Let it keep fermenting. Give it a couple more days. When
mhm,
it gets to that ideal spot, and everybody's spot is different, then put it in the refrigerator and it'll slow down the fermentation to hardly anything. And it'll just sit there as long as you want it to. I have mustard I've made that has been in the refrigerator for 3 years and it's excellent. It's so good. So you just, you know, you measure it out, you wait, you taste it when it's at its perfect spot, then put it in the refrigerator so it stops fermenting. And
mhm.
I'll tell you that cabbage, you know, coleslaw, if you make coleslaw from cabbage, man, you're spending, you can get about 20 servings and it goes bad in 3 days. But you take that cabbage, you make sauerkraut, that cabbage now lasts a year and you can get 20 servings from it because you don't need as many. And you've got more nutritional value in that cabbage, in that 1 teaspoon, than you could have ever had in coleslaw.
Mhm.
So there you go.
Awesome. And then us Europeans, what we'll do is we'll make it quite unhealthy by adding some bacon and pierogies to it. Mix it with sauerkraut, and it's so good. And then you sour cream on top of the sauerkraut with all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah, you can. You just know that that is live. It's a live culture, and you are giving your body great benefits. And what those benefits are, those are microbes. And
Mhm,
those microbes, when you add all that other stuff to it, just it helps. Fermentation, a way of almost already decomposing the food. It takes it halfway there. So it's easier on your digestion to eat it and to process it because
mhm.
it's partially uh, decomposed already. I do a lot of beans. I ferment a lot of beans that way. Gets rid of the gas, which is beautiful. Um, and it is so much easier on your body to release it when it's partially decomposed.
Mhm.
And it also helps with the rest of the food you're eating. It'll help process food if you add those microbes in.
Mhm. No, that's true, right? And when we ourselves are walking, talking bacterias, right? This is what how our body functions. So when our gut bacteria, gut floras, all the gut linings, everything is damaged from us eating food products, which is barely even keeping us alive. It made me like this is how what I refer to as the sourdough
Uh-huh.
uh like how used to feed my sourdough versus how I feed it now because someone I was watching a video, one lady mentioned that if you're feeding your sourdough 1-1-1, so 100-gram starter, 100-gram
One
water,
flour,
100-gram
one water.
flour, for those that don't know. So if you're feeding it that ratio, what you're really doing it is you're barely keeping it alive. You're literally giving it just enough nutrition and food to keep it in starvation mode, but not starve to death and not really alive. So this is how, and then the way that you would keep it alive, just to answer those who might be asking that question, is one, two, two. And if you want to give more, you can give more. But this is what I started recognizing about the food industry. All these, everything that is in the middle of the aisle, in the middle of the store, should be avoided. You want to shop all the way around because this is where the food is alive. But everything that's in the middle that is not food, it's food product. Yes, of course, you can find jams and you can find fermented foods and things in there, but at the same time, it costs you a lot less to do it yourself than to pay
Yeah.
for it in the store. And you know exactly what goes in there. And you, another way of looking at it is if you read the back of the label, and this is the recipe that you would use yourself, then buy that product. And if this is not something that you would make in your own kitchen, then
Or you can
why?
pronounce.
Right? Because then that means the scientist is involved. So why would you go to a science lab to buy food for yourself when the other part of the science is, I know in your book, you're going to be talking about the soil in there as well, right? And I know we're not going to
Yes.
get much into it because we don't have much time. So I just wanted to drop these little seeds, these little nuggets. Follow Michelle, get her book. It's going to be coming out at
Thank
the
you.
end of the month on the 31st. But because this is all about your journey and how you got to where you are, I would love to ask you another question because I am just always full of questions. um, I love this concept of understanding who we're being
Mhm.
versus who we are. And that really means that who I am being right now might not be who I truly am. So, as an
Right.
example, if you push my buttons, I am a nice person and I can take enough of my buttons being pushed. But if you push the right ones, I will go off. But that's not who I am. This is who I'm being in the present moment. Right.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes we
Uh-huh.
all need to remember this is not who I am, not who I am. Don't take it personally. Don't drop the whole defense mechanisms that you have, but it takes practice to even get there. Um, because it's not, if we can just do it like this, we would do it like that, right? If we all knew how to ferment things right away, we would be doing that. But nobody teaches these things in school. Nobody teaches us these things. You have to go and deep dive into that
Yeah.
search and research yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Before I go there, I want to talk a little bit on the microbes.
Hmm.
And then we can talk more on that. I want everyone to know this isn't our fault. We aren't where we are today because of decisions we made. We don't get to make these decisions. We have trusted our food systems to make these decisions for us.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the 1800s. I mean, Pasteur is this amazing researcher that basically coined the term germ theory. And what he discovered was that, well, what he said and what everybody listened to him for was microbes cause disease.
Mm,
So he said microbes cause disease and we should sterilize and pasteurize and make a war on germs.
mm,
And we
mm,
listened to him. And so we followed his process. But there was another guy in there. There was another guy in there. His name is Big Count. And he was saying it's not the germs we need to watch out for, it's the
mm,
terrain. It's our, if our body is fighting, the microbes will keep fighting with us. If our terrain is solid and strong, the microbes are going to help us. So he's like, build the terrain, and
mm,
that will build our guts and make our guts strong. And you know, when you look at this, so that theory did not resonate with anyone in the 1800s, but
of
it's
course not.
starting to come back today. People are starting to go, did we get it wrong? Did we do it the wrong way? And uh, you know, he was quite the, he was ahead of his time, and I wish we would have, because we may not be where we are today. You know, germs don't have to be bad. And what happens in our gut is such a clear reasoning of how we maneuver in our day-to-day world.
Hmm.
You know, you said if we rub you the wrong way, you get upset. Well, if your gut was in check and feeling really good, you're really not going to get rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah, it'll
You're
be
going to
much
have those
harder.
happy endorphins. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really important that everybody understands this isn't our fault. Corporate America did this, and even Michael Pollan said it. We vote with our fork 3 times a day. What, and he said that like 30 years ago. And I remember reading his book, Omnivore's Dilemma, going, wow, that seems a little far-fetching. But here we are today. And look what's changed in our food system. Everything's processed.
Yes.
There's a pill for everything you could possibly want. When Mother Nature gives us anything that we need, we just have to know how to use it. So I think it's really important that everybody knows and understands that we have been conditioned to think this way.
Hmm.
And we can get better by making stands, by making choices. You know, we don't have to live with what corporate America is giving us. I mean, corporate America is going to follow the money. If we're saying, sure, we're going to eat fast food, sure, we're going to eat that processed stuff, then corporate America is going to keep making it. But
Yep.
if we take a stand and we say, no, we want real food, live food, corporate America will help us with that.
Hmm.
So I think that's something that will bring about food sovereignty. And my goal is that my book and my process, this easy way of working through like a 2 week reset, becomes builds momentum and becomes the way that everybody starts living. Our world would be so much happier.
Yes.
You know, it would really be so much happier. And honestly, I forgot what your question was now.
Well, the question I was gonna ask is more who you were being before this transformation and
Oh,
who
I
you
was
are now.
trying to get up. I couldn't sleep. My body hurt. I was bummed out, depressed. Everything was hard. You know, I equate it to when you're sick.
Yeah.
And when I'm sick, everything looks great. My world looks great.
Hmm.
But when I start feeling better, all of a sudden color comes back. Everything's either I can put my shoes on and tie my shoes, and it's not a struggle. You know, my head is not pounding. Everything feels good.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel that that's where I was. And for a long time, I was living with that pain and taking it back and starting my fermented foods and finding some rhythms again. Rhythms are key. You know, I drink a warm glass of water with lemon and salt every morning because it feels good. You know what else it does? It gets your bile moving in your gut. It starts your day off great. I'll eat a tablespoon, sometimes two, of something fermented first thing in the morning after my water. And it wakes me up and gives me energy. It's fantastic. And if I feel like there's a lump in the day, I go grab another fermented food. I might take miso and put it with some warm water and drink it. And then all of a sudden, I'm bouncing off the walls, ready to keep my day going. So I think it's really important to listen to what your body is asking for and giving it what it needs. And we're not going to find it in empty calories. We're not going to find it on those center shelves that's all processed food. Our
Yeah.
body's craving microbes, live food, and doing a program that's got a rhythm, and you're eating this healthy food.
Hmm.
And boy, does your poops feel good. Seriously, you will have the best poops ever if you just eat the fermented food and drink your lemon water in the morning. Other things I say in this reset program is uh, diversity. Diversity is absolutely critical. You need to make sure you are eating 30 different types of plants, nuts, seeds, grains. And it's super easy to do. It sounds 30, oh my gosh, I can't get 30 in my body. But when you think about it, if you make a burrito, for example, and you've got beans in there and you've got cheese and you're going to put some sort of greens, some sort of vegetables,
Hmm.
you could have three or four right there in one spot. So to get 30, it's just keeping track of it and figuring it out. And then belly laughs. Belly laughs keep the bile, keep the microbes moving. It feels good to do, and outsourcing your entertainment is what we need to do. It's totally fine
Right?
because you got to get your belly laughing.
Yeah.
If you're not laughing, you're stuck. So you want to laugh. You want to do deep breathing and you want to do some at least movement, stretches, walking. Really listen to what your body wants. And I have that reset program on my website. You just download it. It's free. And it's also in my book, but it's the gutsoffermentation.com. Go there, you'll find it.
Hmm.
And just download it. You don't need an email or anything. It's just there. But that's really important. So these microbes, I think that there's this, you buy a book and you've got these silo of information. You've got everything about health or everything about food or everything about recipes, everything about gardening. What my book did was turn this into an ecosystem because it's really important to understand, well, what is it about the food that's so important? And it's the live microbes on it.
Hmm.
And so to get that, you garden, you buy from farmers, you go to farmers markets and pick up fresh food. That's where those microbes live because everything in the grocery store, it doesn't matter if it's organic or not, it's sterilized, it's already cleaned,
Hmm.
it's already in its perfect shapes, it's weighted properly. Um, it's been controlled by corporate America. So we need to, go eat that ugly produce.
Yeah.
And what I think what you're talking about, Yana, is the something an aha moment. I've had so many in my lifetime, right? We all do. One of them was out uh, foraging mushrooms. I'm a big forager, and this particular moment, I decided to stop foraging and listen to the forest. I took my shoes off. I felt the soil beneath my feet, the wind on my face. I heard the birds chirping. I heard the leaves rustling. It was an incredible feeling. I felt like I was one with the forest. And I think those feelings equated to when I was a little girl. I felt that too. And that's what we're missing. A forest doesn't need human intervention. Humans don't go into the forest and fix it. For the forest takes care of itself. The mycelium that grows produces mushrooms. The mushrooms spread out the spores. Those spores hit anything that needs to be decomposed. Your microbes are eating and feeding and sharing and holding water. It's a symbiotic relationship. That forest is incredible. And we can learn a lot from that. And we can bring that back to our life. One of the things we can do, one thing that I think is kind of geeky, but I love it, um, is making some rice. Let's say you cook 2 cups of rice, you put it in a basket, you take it out into the forest or the woods, wherever you're close to, put a bucket over the top of it, wait 5 days, go back, see what changes to that rice. When you go back after 5 days, you will see this white, fluffy material that's grown on top of the rice, and that is mycelium. And it's incredible to see. And you can take that rice home with you. You haven't touched, you haven't hurt the forest whatsoever. And you can shelf stabilize those microbes with some brown sugar. Stick it in a jar. You can mix that jar, let's say 1 part of that jar to 1,000 parts water. That one jar that you captured of microbes, you could probably keep for a whole year. And you just take 1 part to 1,000 parts water and feed it into your garden. My gosh, those microbes are going to colonize in just a couple days. And if you don't believe me, do the science.
Mm-hmm.
Take your soil and look under a slide and see what kind of life forms you see. And then feed your soil the microbes and go back and look at it again in 3 days. It colonizes a fast, rapid pace. I mean, one handful of microbes from the forest is more people than there are on this planet. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I mean, it's still new technology. I mean, it wasn't until the 2000s that we could even see more than shapes under the microscope. And now we can do DNA sequencing
Mm-hmm.
on the microbes. Now we can map pathways that these microbes are taking. So it's new and it's exciting and it's going to help us because everything that's going on in the soil goes on in our guts.
Yeah.
And when you do not treat your soil properly, if you till your soil, you're killing those
Yep.
microbes. What Mother Nature gave us, you're killing. So, yeah, it's really important to protect our soil, to, you know, experiment with it. Stick your hands in the dirt. Don't wear gloves. Go
Mm-hmm.
barehanded. Even, my gosh, take your shoes off. Feel the soil beneath your feet because there's life there and
Mm-hmm.
it's healing and it is not going to hurt you. So sorry, that was a long, drawn out thing.
Hey, whatever meant to come through comes through. And I
Oh,
love
thanks,
you
Yana.
nerding out. There's so much knowledge, wisdom, and value in there because it just drops little seeds of, oh, she knows about this. Oh, I've never heard about that. Right? So that way it gives everyone who is listening or watching a moment to take some notes, rewatch this podcast again, re-listen to it again and again as many times as you need to until you have the information that you are needing to get yourself going, to get yourself in to take inspired action. Because
Yeah,
inspired
thank
action is
you.
so important. Without inspired action, we would still be, living with parents.
Yes, yes. Yes, and my book goes into all of these topics in detail. My book has 127 recipes in it. So I
Mhm.
only talk about sauerkraut and sometimes beet kvass, but really I have 127 recipes. And do you know, this is not new and this is not trendy. This has been going on for thousands of
Yes.
years.
Yeah, but it's now new and trendy again because we humans are not much different than fleas.
No,
We got trained and taught that we are meant to stay in a jar and not jump anymore. I don't know if those of you who are not familiar, there's been a study with fleas that you put fleas in a jar, you close the lid. Once the fleas learn that they can't escape, they will not even try. And all the generations after the fleas, all their babies and offsprings will be doing the same thing. And we
yes,
humans are not much different than fleas who are trapped in this fermentation jar we call Earth.
yes. So true. So true.
Right?
That's a great analogy.
Oh, thank you. I try. I like analogies. I find this is how I've learned things. This is how I understand and certain deep concepts that like some people they understand, let's say, math through basketballs and playing
Yeah.
different games,
The
right? For me,
stats.
right? It's
Yes,
I
yes.
think a style of learning, I guess, in a way. For me, analogies, humor is the way to go. Stories. Um, there's a couple of notes I wrote down when you were talking about fixing the forest, that we don't think about fixing the forest. Well, I'm sure I'm not the first one, but every time I look out the window from our cottage and I see the forest and the trees down, I'm like, I want to go and clean it up and organize it and make it pretty. But then you do it, the next morning it'll be a forest again. So you can't turn a forest something that it's not unless you get rid of the forest
Yeah,
and
but you know what you could do, Yana? You could
grow the
inoculate the
thing.
woods that are laying down on the ground with mushroom spores and grow mushrooms and have a mushroom farm right there.
Well,
Embrace what's there.
see, and this is, I bought some mushroom spores.
Yes.
And I'm not an expert in planting mushrooms. So my planting method was feel free to laugh as much as you want. I just toss them around.
Yeah, that
Which of
doesn't
course, and
work
I'm
because you
like,
have to have
I
a
know,
substrate. Yes,
I
you need
know.
a
That's what I'm like.
substrate. So
And then some I put under
and
the leaf.
the substrate's different based on what mushroom you're growing. So
Exactly.
I really focus on the medicinal mushrooms like lion's mane and
Hmm.
cordyceps and I think it's really important to get uh, medicinal mushrooms in your body anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm always showing people how to do mushroom farms. It's really fun.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna be watching that. And then you were talking about my can't remember the name of the person, but the person who said that microbes cause disease,
Oh
right?
yes,
That
Louis
one.
Pasteur.
Ludus?
Louis
Lewis.
Pasteur.
Lewis. Okay. So when Lewis said that microbes cause disease, instantly I'm like, no, stress causes disease because it's dis-ease in the
Yeah,
body. And what
yeah,
causes stress on the body is an unhealthy gut, unhealthy body. When
yes,
we are hungry, we can get hangry. When
yes,
you're hurting, you unconsciously might hurt other people around you as well. So, and all of those things are in our gut. And yeah, I do believe our gut is the our second brain.
yeah,
Some even say it's our second heart. Well, why can't it be both, right?
yeah, yeah.
And why not take care of these things before it becomes a bigger problem than it already is? Because let's be honest, in
Yeah, you
invisible,
know that Pasteur is still followed. The germ theory is still alive and well, and we saw it big time during COVID.
oh yeah,
Everybody sterilized everything, and everyone kept getting sicker.
yeah.
I just think that I think it's really important to look at microbes as good,
Hmm.
and if we provide the right environment, we'll
Hmm.
get the good microbes and they'll fight the bad ones.
Yeah.
So I mean, Ben Camp, I think he was onto something really special, and I'm excited to see his theories are starting to get readdressed. I mean, if you look at the medical profession, they don't really teach nutrition in medical school.
Just a little bit
But you know what they do? They
about
they
medicine.
money goes to studying pills.
Yes, because that is where the nutrition is in the pills.
That is
That's
where
the
the
future
money
of our
is.
health.
They're following the money. They know that that will generate money. Whereas if we get
Yeah.
everybody healthy, there's no money to be made there.
Well, it's
So,
been a long time since doctors have been getting paid until their patients got sick.
yeah,
Right? Now doctors get paid only when their patients are sick. So of course, as a doctor, what they're teaching them, it's not much different than a multi-level marketing company. It's just you have a really good person that has been trained and conditioned to sell really well, and then you go to a doctor. The first thing that if the doctor's first solution, here's the pill, you don't have a doctor, you have a drug dealer. When I heard that, I'm like, that's good. I'm using that every chance I get because it is so true. And I've had in this instance, I've had quite a few drug dealers, and it's really hard to find a doctor, especially even here in Ontario, because everybody's full or has waiting lists. So the doctors that we do get, most of them are drug dealers. So I still have just a different, better drug dealer that uh, somewhat listens,
Yeah,
right?
I think that, listening to our bodies is something we've really lost. I mean, our ancestors listened to their bodies. Our ancestors used what was growing to help heal them. I mean, food
Yeah.
is medicine.
Hmm.
Food can heal you. It's just a matter of what are you eating. I mean, I saw it, Yana. I would take people out into the forest and I would do these off-grid events and I
Sounds
would give
ominous.
them fermented foods and I would watch them transform behind before my eyes.
Hmm.
And when they left, they were sad to leave. They wanted to stay. They wanted to eat more of this food. They wanted more knowledge. They were starving for this
Literally.
information to help them feel better,
Hmm.
and they didn't know they would feel better. So, and of course, I always heard about the poops.
Oh,
Let
you
me
have
talk
to.
about that a minute. I just want to talk on that. There is, our body is always given us signals. And those signals come in the way that we feel. How do we feel? Are we angry? Are we unhappy? Are we inflamed? But there's also the signal of our poop.
Hmm.
And we laugh about that because it's a taboo topic. But truly, in my book, I have a chart that was made uh, a long time ago called the Bristol chart, and anybody can look it up. In my book, there's a pretty one because I had an artist design it for me.
And it's
Um,
colored, I presume.
yeah, well, no, my book doesn't have any colors in it. It's black and white, but it's still really cute compared.
Okay.
I mean, poop that's cute. I was like, can you make me a poop chart? Here's my example, the Bristol chart,
And make
but
it
make it
cute.
pretty. And she's
Make it
like,
pretty and
make
cute.
poop pretty. And I'm like, yeah. So anyway, when you see it, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get this. But
Okay.
anyway, what I want to say about poop, you can track your poop for 1 to 2 weeks. And the questions you want to ask yourself is what where does this poop fall on the Bristol chart? 1 through 6. You want a perfect poop is like a 4, a 3 or a 4. And then what color is it? What is the transient time? Does it stink? And all of these, this is all information. Can you imagine if you went to your doctor with a 2 week of your poop, how much knowledge they will have by looking at that? They can actually give you informed decisions. Doing blood test isn't going to give you the right information, but tracking your poop does. And if you have a doctor that's like, oh, yeah, I don't know anything about that, you've got the wrong doctor.
It's not a doctor,
So
it's a
I
drug
think it's
dealer then,
really
probably.
what?
It's probably not a doctor or drug dealer then. A
Yes,
real
yes,
doctor would know.
yes. So, I mean, it's really important. And transient time, you can't just do, you need to test it. You test it by eating some beets. And then as you poop, what color is your poop?
Really red.
When it's red, that'll tell you transient time before 12 hours, that's running through you too fast. And that means you're not getting all the nutrients you need. If it takes longer than 24 hours, then you've got a problem with something like your kidneys. You need to have a doctor look at. You really need to get that addressed. Stinkiness can drive something going on with your poop. Does it float? Does it sink? If it's floating, man, the first thing when it's floating is you have too much fat in your diet. I mean, talk about mind blowing. Think about if your goal was to make your poop the absolute perfect poop, how good you would feel.
Right? And relieved.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you've got a perfect poop, boy, that means what you're putting in your mouth is perfect.
Right?
So I think that's really important to share. So I had to like
Yeah.
throw that out there, Yana. Thank
Oh,
you.
perfect. That's a great way to wrap things up, talking about
Poop.
food. Right? I mean, this is where all the food ends up. So we
Yes.
start with talking about food itself, then how you ferment it, the fermentation inside, and then you gotta relieve it, right? So, and then look at it, chart it, and see what's going on inside. And then you have a better understanding of yourself and your health. And you can also see perhaps why you've been in the mood,
Yes.
right? Because it affects your
Yes.
mood. Uh, so as we're wrapping up, the last question I want to ask you is is this. What part of yourself are you finally learning to love without trying to fix or hide? And this does not have to be about the God. This is just overall of
No.
your life and journey of part of yourself that you are learning to love more than you already have without trying to hide it or fix
You
it.
know, it's really interesting, Yana. I'm 59 years old. And honestly, I feel the most real I've ever felt in my
Mm,
life right now, right this moment. And I know I went through the change. I know that there's changes that happen mentally when you go through this change, but I feel powerful. And I'm not scared of what I have to say. I
mm,
mean, do you know how long it took for me to share that I'm a mushroom hunter or that I like to talk about poop or that um, I wanted to be honest about how I felt my inflammation hurting me?
mhm.
These signals, this stuff that happens to us, we live in a society that it's all taboo.
Yep.
My menstrual cycle, I was so lucky to grow up and never have a problem. And I didn't start it until after I had my child. And then all hell broke loose. And I
Mm.
felt so isolated. I felt alone, fearful, sad, like I couldn't function properly, like I was doing something wrong. Boy, I'm so not there now, Yana. I am a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm. You tell them.
Yeah,
I
I
love
am. It
that.
feels good.
Yeah, it does feel good, doesn't it? And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over our lifetime because
Yep.
all of us are here healing from the first part of our life, stepping into the second part of our life as authentically as we possibly can. And all
Yes.
of those things, they're in, that are holding us hostage, they're all in our head. None of them exist outside of us. Like literally, if you think about everything that you're
So
thinking about,
true.
everything that you're scared of, that fear, those worries, they don't exist outside your body. They're your own. And I had this epiphany. I remember when I was walking, um, I was severely depressed, popping pills, right? Because this was the only way of not being depressed. That drug
Of
dealer prescription,
surviving. Of
right?
surviving, Yana.
And it just made me and my body and everything so much worse. But I remember being in a grocery store and spinning out. My son was just 2.5 years old, and I'm in this grocery store, and I'm thinking that everybody's judging me because my son is here, he's there, he's everywhere. And I remember thinking everybody's thinking of me and judging me, and this is what they're thinking and saying. And I realized, and this is when I was already doing the work on myself, right before I went to the coach training program, I realized that nobody gives a shit about me. They don't even know I exist, and they will forget about me the moment they turn away. And that is
Yeah.
my ego speaking. So therefore, that's the work I'm doing. The ego work that traps
Yeah.
me in my own mind, in my own body, in my own fears, not allowing me to do and be what I want. And breaking
So
through
true.
is not easy, but it's so worth it because in the end, you're like, I'm I got it. I figured it
Yeah.
out. I don't know how. I mean, you do. We all do. But it's like, I don't know how, but I'm here, right? And it feels like we went to sleep, we woke up, and we're here. But
Yes.
realistically, it is not. But it feels like that. Just like the first part of our life, it feels like that part was a dream, that none of that is real. In many ways, it was.
Yeah.
For all we know, we're going to wake up from a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. Inception on its own. Right. So thank you for being on here, for sharing, for giving me and our audience some extra time. And I would love to hear from you because there are women there listening who can relate to you in many ways. And I would love for those women, for that one woman who is listening right now, maybe sitting there dreaming, doubting, scared to start, scared to begin with whatever it is that you're scared to start to begin. Nothing is too little or too small. What would you want her to know?
Oh, wow. I'd want her to know she's not alone.
Mm,
And that almost makes me teary eyed. Actually, it does make me teary eyed.
yeah,
We, us women, have a lot to go through. We have a lot of responsibilities on our shoulders. We have to reach out. We have to be in community. And we're in a world right now where we're not in community.
yeah,
And fermenting foods is a way of being in community, working with others, uh, talking about what you're going through, really being present, slowing down. I want her to know she can reach out to me at any time. I would love to hear from any of your listeners on what they're going through. You know, allergies, a lot of allergies can be solved by fixing your gut, by eating fermented food. A lot of ailments, autoimmune diseases can be healed or helped by eating fermented food. But I think the biggest thing is you are not alone.
yeah,
I don't want anybody to feel like I felt.
yeah. That's beautiful and very well said.
Whew.
Yeah, no, that made me teary-eyed as well because I too felt we all feel alone when we begin our journey because we do begin our journey alone. We have
Yeah.
to. You
Yeah.
can't begin your journey with anyone else because it's not meant to be that way. You're meant to begin on your own and you're meant to experience some lows.
Yeah.
But you're not meant to continue that journey alone. You're meant to continue that journey. The reason why you're on that journey is because you're meant to find people who are on that same or similar journey and find that community. That's where your support fortress is going to be. And it is crucial. If you don't have a community, you will continue to feel and be and feel lonely. You can be alone and not feel lonely. There's a big difference between those. And there's so many communities out there, but it comes down to what is your main focus right now? If that is fixing your gut and inside out, there's many approaches to inside out healing. And I mean, all of them pretty much are inside out. Exercise, that's going to be an inside out approach. Your nutrition is going to be another inside out approach. Mindset coaching training is going to be another, right? Sleeping is another one. Maybe you got to get your sleep together, get your shit together with your sleep. Then you're going to find a community who's trying to fix their sleep because it's not the sleep that's really broken, perhaps. It's your gut, your nervous system, right? Hence why you need a mindset coach. And your body itself might not be strong enough to even carry your grocery bags inside the house. So that's another
True.
call for like when your body's screaming, says, "Oh, I can't carry these bags." That call for, I forgot what the word is, that you need to take action with that, whatever it is that you're being called upon. So that's a beautiful way of wrapping it up after some poop. We talked about communities, and you can talk about your poop in the right community. And then you're talking about belly laughs, and it made me think of an example one of the women shared in my sacred circle this week, where she was talking about there's something you can do with the family, where you have one person lay down and the next person that lays down puts their head on your stomach and the next person on that stomach, and then you're basically like you dominoes, right? And you're laying down
Yeah.
and the first person goes ha and the second person goes ha ha, and each person adds the ha to it, and in the end you're literally all belly laughing and you're going to be rolling, and this is where you don't even have to outsource your entertainment.
Yes. Yes. It's beautiful. That's a great way for belly laughs to happen. Yeah.
right? Or even do a fake laugh, and eventually your fake laughter will become either tears or real laughter, and that will tell you where you need some more healing done if tears come through
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
if laughter comes through.
Yeah. I think, movement too, dancing. Dance. Give
Yeah.
yourself a little jig, right?
Exactly. And for us as women, rotating and moving your root chakra
Your
area,
hips. Yeah.
okay? Them hips, them butts, you're twerking,
Mhm.
whatever form of dance you like, prefer, dance, but move, just move your circle. The hula hoop, try that. That's really gonna move. And
Yeah.
not only your body, but your gut, quite literally, right?
Yes.
So, once again, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you and appreciate all the work you have done to that got you to where you are now. Will continue to get you to where you're meant to be, and sharing your first part of your life in about an hour with all of us, which is doesn't even scratch the surface because the conversation you and I had was different, and I'm sure the next one we're gonna have is gonna be different as well. So keep
Yes.
your eyes
Yes.
and ears open. I'm sure we'll have another one soon enough. So
Thank you, Yana. This has been a beautiful afternoon, and thank you to all of your guests listening in. Please reach out to us. Yana has got a lot of information on her website. You really are amazing.
thank you.
And between the two of us, I think we're a force to be reckoned with.
Right? I know we got some seeds planted from our previous conversation.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you, everybody. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, whatever platform you find this podcast on, that clearly your favorite platform for listening to podcasts, and keep your ears and eyes open for the next podcast that will be coming out on Get Your Shit Together podcast. It's spelled right there, really straightforward. Yours, you are. And if you want to find in the shorter form, it's hashtag GERST, literally the first letter of every word, just like with Get You Your Journey Becoming is just short form is hashtag your job. So you figure that one out yourselves. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.